There are certain moments in life when the ordinary things we do carry consequences far beyond what the eye can see. Something as simple, as harmless, as innocent as stepping beneath the water for a shower. We do it without a second thought. But what if I told you tonight that there is a time, an hour, that if you dare to ignore, if you choose to bathe then, you open a door you were never meant to open? What if I told you that one wrong moment could draw into your life not peace, not blessing, but poverty and misfortune that cling like a shadow? I know it sounds unbelievable. You smile because the water feels refreshing, it feels cleansing. And yet, how many lives have been washed away in sorrow because they did not understand the weight of time? Oh, how easily we forget that every hour of the day carries with it an atmosphere, a spirit, an unseen presence that waits to attach itself to what we do. And you may think it is just a shower, only water, nothing more. But is it? Is it only water when it leaves you restless in the night? Is it only water when it seems as though money slips through your fingers, opportunities fade before your eyes, and luck never rests upon your doorstep? There are things in life that appear so small, so ordinary, so harmless that we do them without the slightest hesitation. We rise in the morning, we move through our routines, we eat, we drink, we wash, and never once do we pause to ask ourselves what weight these little things may carry. But I tell you, it is not always the great decisions that shape a life. Sometimes it is the smallest of habits, the most common of acts, that open doors we cannot see and call into our lives consequences we never intended. A shower is just water, you say, just a moment of refreshment, nothing more. And yet, how many destinies have been altered, how many futures darkened, because of the hour chosen to do something so ordinary? The unseen is far more powerful than the seen. And the invisible realm always attaches itself to the choices we make, even in the simple things. Think about it. A seed is small, so small you can crush it between two fingers, and yet buried in the right soil, at the right time, it has the power to split concrete, to rise as a mighty tree, to change the very landscape. What looks insignificant holds within it the potential for either destruction or blessing. In the same way, a shower seems like nothing, but done at the wrong time, it can draw to you poverty and misfortune like a magnet pulling iron. And when that poverty comes, when that misfortune begins to whisper its curses, you will not trace it back to the moment you stepped beneath that water, because you believed it was only routine, only habit. But the unseen world was watching, the unseen forces were waiting. And in that small act, the door was opened. This is why so many live confused lives. They cannot understand why their efforts fail, why every attempt at prosperity turns to dust. They work, they labor, they save, but something slips away, something drains them, and they are left with nothing but frustration. And when you ask them what they do, they tell you nothing unusual, nothing different than anyone else. They wash when they feel like it, they sleep when they please, they move without thought, without sensitivity to the time, to the hour, to the spiritual atmosphere that covers each moment. And they wonder why doors close, why opportunities vanish. It is because they do not see that the ordinary has consequences. They do not understand that simple actions, like a shower at the wrong hour, can tie them to chains they never see but always feel. Let me ask you, when you lose money in ways you cannot explain, when relationships crumble for no reason, when peace leaves your home and shadows creep in, do you truly think it is by accident? Or could it be that somewhere along the way, you gave permission through something small, that what you called ordinary, heaven and hell both called significant? Oh, how many have cursed their own lives without knowing, all because they thought the simple things carried no weight? But I tell you tonight, there is no such thing as a meaningless act. Nothing is neutral. Every step either builds or tears down. Every choice either opens to blessing or to curse. And it is in those small, unnoticed moments that destiny is shaped. The enemy knows this, and so he hides snares in the ordinary, hoping you will overlook them, hoping you will laugh them away, hoping you will dismiss the thought that something so simple could ever matter. That is why the trap is so effective. Because it looks harmless. Because it feels normal. And by the time you realize the pattern, by the time you connect your losses to your actions, the cycle has already been set in motion. So I plead with you, do not despise the small things. Do not assume that because something is routine, it carries no consequence. Guard even the smallest of habits. Pay attention to the moments when you act without thought, because it may be those very moments that determine whether you walk in abundance or lack, in favor or misfortune. A shower may be ordinary, but the time, the hour, the atmosphere, oh, they are not ordinary at all. And when you dismiss them, you risk attracting the very things you fear. It is not the grand decisions alone that shape your destiny. It is the hidden weight of the ordinary things, the simple acts, that invite either blessing or curse into your life. And once you understand this truth, you will never again treat even the smallest habit as meaningless. There is something most people never stop to consider, and yet it governs the very rhythm of their existence. Every hour of the day carries with it an unseen weight, an atmosphere that cannot be measured by the clock on the wall or the calendar in your hand. You wake up and see only the sunlight, or the darkness outside your window. But beyond that light and beyond that darkness there is a presence, a spiritual current, moving, breathing, shifting with the hour. And while you walk through your day as though each moment is the same, heaven knows and hell knows that not every hour is equal. Some hours are open, ripe with blessing, and others are thick, heavy with resistance, dangerous to the soul that dares to ignore them. Have you ever wondered why one day you wake with peace, and everything you touch seems to prosper, while another day you feel the air itself pressing down on you, as though invisible hands are pulling you back? It is not chance, it is not accident, it is the atmosphere of the hour. There are moments when the very heavens lean close, when prayers rise swiftly and answers descend like rain. But there are other moments, other hours, when the very air grows heavy with opposition, when your voice feels unheard, when everything within you strains against resistance. And still, most walk as though every hour is the same, as though time carries no difference, as though it does not matter what they do and when they do it. But I tell you tonight, it matters. Oh, how it matters. For when you step into the wrong hour with the wrong action, you align yourself with forces that were never meant to shape your destiny. A shower may look like nothing, but if you choose that moment when the atmosphere is charged with lack, then the water that should refresh you becomes a signal in the unseen world, marking your life with struggle. And the enemy waits for that moment, waits for you to step into his hour unguarded, so he may wrap chains around you through the smallest of acts. Do not think for a moment that only sacred actions belong to sacred times. Everything you do is either lifted by the atmosphere of blessing or dragged down by the atmosphere of resistance. A word spoken in the right hour carries the power of life, but the same word in the wrong hour falls dead, leaving only silence. A decision made at the right moment unlocks doors, but the same decision in the wrong moment binds you tighter than ever. This is the mystery of the hours, the unseen weight of time. And perhaps you say, but how can I know? How can I discern which hour is for blessing and which is for loss? Ah, that is why so many stumble in darkness, because they move without discernment, without sensitivity to the rhythm of the unseen. They laugh at the idea, they call it superstition, and so they walk blindly into snares, showering at the hour of lack, speaking at the hour of silence, planting at the hour when the soil is cursed, and then they wonder why their efforts bring no fruit. Listen closely, for I tell you, every hour has a spirit. There is no neutral moment. What covers the dawn is not what covers the midnight. What rests on the noon is not what rests on the twilight. Some hours are pregnant with favor, others with resistance. And when you fail to honor that truth, when you dismiss it as nothing, you become the victim of forces you never even believed existed. Have you not felt it in your own life? Times when you stepped into a room and knew, without a word spoken, that the atmosphere was charged, that something unseen filled the air. That is the very thing I speak of. Multiply it across every moment of your life, and you will begin to see why timing is not a game, why hours are not meaningless. To walk wisely is to walk aware, to act in tune with the invisible weight that rests on the clock. For those who ignore it, misfortune becomes their companion, no matter how innocent their actions may seem. So I plead with you, guard your hours, guard your moments. Never assume that what you do, and when you do it, are disconnected. Every action is tied to an atmosphere. And when you step into the wrong atmosphere, even the simplest act can unleash poverty, can summon bad luck, can chain you to cycles of loss. But when you step into the right hour, oh, how everything changes. The water that once cursed now cleanses, the step that once bound now frees. The action that once drained you now overflows with blessing. This is the mystery so few understand, that every hour carries a presence. Every hour carries a spirit, and the wise do not walk carelessly through time. There are forces at work in this world, unseen yet powerful, that respond to the smallest of actions, the most ordinary of habits, and yet they are so subtle that most never notice until it is too late. Poverty and bad luck do not always come suddenly, like a storm that breaks the sky. Sometimes they creep quietly, unnoticed, seated in moments you thought were harmless, attracted by hours you treated as ordinary. And it is these very hours that can mark a life, that can determine whether the door of blessing swings wide or remains locked tight. Some of you tonight have felt this creeping, this quiet weight, this string of misfortune that follows wherever you go, and you cannot explain it. You wonder, Why does this always happen to me? Why do I work, I pray, I strive, and yet my hands remain empty? I tell you, it is because you have opened a door without knowing. You have stepped into an hour that calls forth poverty. You have moved at a time that aligns your actions with forces you cannot see. It is not the shower, it is not the act itself, but the time you choose that invites lack. You may think that water falling from above can never bring harm, that nothing as simple as washing can touch your finances, your opportunities, your luck. And yet, how many have stood before me, broken and confused, recounting the ways in which their lives were emptied of what they needed most, never realizing that the very moment they chose to act had already made a declaration in the spiritual realm. The unseen world listens, it responds, and even in a seemingly trivial act, the timing can signal favor, or it can summon misfortune. There are hours when blessing hovers, when the air itself feels lighter, when opportunities flow as easily as the water from a faucet. And then there are hours when the air is heavy, charged with resistance, with struggle, with poverty that binds, with misfortune that lingers. And when you step into that hour unaware, oh, the consequences are real, immediate, and relentless. You may think it is coincidence that your savings vanish, that your bills pile higher than your pay, that doors that should open remain stubbornly closed. But there is no coincidence. There is only timing and alignment, an unseen energy that attaches itself to the moment, responding to your every move. Have you not felt it in the smallest ways? A day begins and something is off. Your car breaks down, a conversation turns sour. The smallest misstep seems magnified, and yet you do not know why. You shrug, you blame chance, you blame the world. But the truth is far simpler and yet far more profound. You have moved at the wrong hour. You have acted when the air itself resisted you, when the forces of poverty, of misfortune, were waiting to cling to your life. And this is the trap so many fall into, day after day, year after year, never realizing that even the most innocent of actions can have consequences when aligned with the wrong time. And yet, there is hope, for the same knowledge that warns you also empowers you. For if there is a time that attracts poverty, there is also a time that invites abundance. If there is an hour that draws misfortune, there is an hour that brings blessing. The difference lies not in what you do alone, but in when you do it, in the atmosphere you step into, in the unseen presence that watches and responds. And those who learn this secret, who respect the power of timing, who guard their moments, find that life begins to shift. Doors open, opportunities multiply. The burdens that once pressed heavy begin to lift, and the shadow of poverty retreats. But tonight, I must warn you, do not take this lightly. Every misstep in time leaves a mark. Every act done at the wrong hour sends ripples through your life that you may not see, but they will feel, they will manifest, they will follow you. And when you wonder why luck never rests, why poverty whispers in your ear, why struggles circle you like vultures, remember this, it was not chance, it was not fate, it was the timing. It was the hour that you chose, the moment when invisible forces called to your life, and you answered without knowing. Guard your hours. Guard your moments. Be sensitive to the unseen currents that surround every action. For it is in the alignment of your actions with the right time that poverty flees, that bad luck dissolves, that life becomes filled with favor. And it is in ignorance of this truth that struggle takes root silently, persistently, invisibly, until it feels as though the weight of the world itself is pressing down upon you. The choice is yours, to move with wisdom or to stumble blindly into the hour that draws the very thing you fear. It is a truth that few understand, and yet it governs every life more than most would dare to admit. It is not the act itself that carries the power, it is the timing. The water that falls from above is innocent. The shower seems harmless. The moment you step beneath it appears ordinary. And yet, there are times when even the simplest act becomes the messenger of poverty and misfortune. It is not the water that drains your luck. It is not the motion of washing that steals your blessing. But the hour you choose, the unseen energy that moves with it, the forces that respond to that exact moment. And because you cannot see them, because you cannot feel them until it is too late, many live a lifetime of struggle without ever connecting the dots. Consider for a moment the way life seems to unfold around you. Opportunities appear and vanish. Wealth comes and slips through your fingers. Peace rises only to fall again. You ask yourself, why does this happen? Why does it always escape me? And all the while, the answer is far simpler than you imagine. It is not what you did, it is when you did it. The moment matters. The hour carries a weight, a force, a presence that responds to every movement, every intention, every act. And when you move at the wrong hour, the consequences are swift, relentless, and undeniable. Some of you have stood in confusion, wondering why no matter how hard you try, how carefully you act, misfortune finds you. You follow the rules, you work diligently, you make every effort to walk the path of blessing. Yet doors remain closed, money slips through your fingers, relationships fail, and peace evades your home. And you shrug, you blame the world, you blame chance. But the truth is far more frightening and far more precise. It is not the act, it is the alignment. You have acted at a time that responds not to blessing, but to opposition. You have unknowingly stepped into an hour that attracts poverty, that summons bad luck, that marks your life with struggle. The simplicity of this truth is its power. The same shower that brings misfortune at one hour can bring refreshment, renewal, and even blessing at another. The same word spoken at the wrong hour falls dead, unheard, powerless. But at the right hour, it opens doors, heals wounds, and changes destinies. Time itself carries a spirit, time itself responds. And even the most innocent of actions becomes charged with consequence when it aligns with the currents of the hour. And yet, how easily this is overlooked. How many dismiss it, thinking that what is ordinary can never be dangerous. They laugh at the idea that water, a faucet, a shower, a simple routine could ever bring harm. And that very laughter, that very dismissal, is what leaves them vulnerable. Because the world you see is not all there is. The world you walk through is only a fraction of reality. There is an unseen realm, and it listens, it watches, it reacts. And it reacts not to the act alone, but to the timing, to the alignment, to the hour you step into. Have you felt it in your own life? The inexplicable string of misfortune, the doors that close just as you reach them, the bills that multiply, the opportunities that vanish, the relationships that falter, all despite your best efforts. It is not luck that failed you. It is not coincidence. It is the hour. It is the moment you acted without understanding, without discernment, without sensitivity to the unseen currents that flow with the time of day. And because you could not see, you could not feel, you became caught, ensnared, marked by forces that respond with precision to the hour. And I say to you tonight, there is hope, for the same knowledge that warns you empowers you. For if the hour can draw poverty, the hour can also bring prosperity. If the hour can summon misfortune, it can also invite blessing. The water does not curse you, your action does not condemn you. But your timing, your awareness, your sensitivity to the atmosphere of the hour. That is where power lies. And those who learn this secret, who guard their moments, who step with discernment, find their lives transformed. Doors open, opportunities flourish, peace settles, and prosperity flows. But for those who ignore it, who laugh at it, who act without thought, the consequences are real, immediate, and persistent. Poverty and misfortune are not abstract ideas. They are responses to alignment, to timing, to the hour chosen. And even the smallest act, done at the wrong time, becomes a signal to the unseen world, a key that unlocks cycles of struggle, chains of lack, and shadows of bad luck. So do not dismiss this. Do not underestimate the power of the hour. It is not the water, it is not the act. It is the timing that determines whether your life is blessed or burdened, whether your steps carry you forward or leave you trapped in cycles of poverty and misfortune. And once you understand this, you will never again treat even the simplest act as meaningless. For every moment carries a weight, every hour carries a spirit, and your destiny hangs on the alignment of both. There is a truth that many overlook, a secret hidden in plain sight, and yet it has the power to transform a life, to turn despair into hope, and to shift a path of struggle into a journey of blessing. For every hour that brings poverty, for every moment that draws misfortune, there is a corresponding hour that carries favor, that carries abundance, that carries the very touch of grace. And this is the mystery so few understand. The same act, the same gesture, the same motion can either curse or bless, depending entirely on the hour in which it is performed. The water that drains can also restore. The shower that brings struggle can also become a stream of renewal. The simplest of acts can summon favor if aligned with the hour that is ripe for blessing. Oh, how easily this is overlooked. How many stumble through life, unaware of the rhythms that surround them, unaware of the unseen currents that shift with the hours, unaware that timing is not merely a convenience, but a force of destiny itself. You may rise in the morning and act as if all hours are the same, as if the sun that touches your window does not carry with it an atmosphere, as if the very air you breathe is neutral. But I tell you, there is nothing neutral in time. Each moment carries a spirit, a weight, a response. And when you step into the right hour, even the smallest act is transformed, elevated, empowered. A word spoken in that hour carries life. A step taken in that hour opens doors that have been locked for years. A shower taken in that hour cleanses not only the body but the spirit, aligning you with forces that multiply blessing, that attract favor, that draw prosperity into your life. And yet most pass through life blind to this truth. They look for miracles in grand gestures, in extraordinary acts, in complicated strategies, when the answer has always been in alignment, in awareness, in the simple act performed at the hour of blessing. The enemy knows this. That is why he works so diligently to hide the secret of timing, to cloud perception, to lull the unwary into ignorance. He wants you to think that all moments are equal, that it does not matter when you act, that the ordinary carries no weight. And in that ignorance, the hours that should bring blessing are passed by, unnoticed, unclaimed, while the hours that bring misfortune are stumbled into, unguarded, unprepared. But those who awaken to this secret, those who learn to discern the hours, find that life itself bends in their favor. Opportunities appear that once seemed impossible. Doors open that once seemed sealed. Financial struggles lift and peace, real peace, settles into the home. And it is not magic, it is not chance, it is understanding. It is recognizing that the right hour is alive with energy, with power, with unseen forces ready to respond to alignment. To move in tune with that hour is to invite blessing. To ignore it is to invite struggle. Consider for a moment the power of awareness. To know the hour, to feel the spirit that covers it, to act with intention within it. Oh, this is a power few comprehend, a force that shapes destinies, a key that unlocks the doors of heaven's favor. And yet it is not complicated. It is not hidden behind study or ritual. It is as simple as recognition, as sensitive as perception, as natural as discerning when the sun rises or sets. The same act repeated at the wrong hour brings frustration. The same act repeated at the right hour brings abundance. Timing is everything. Alignment is everything. And once you understand this, nothing ordinary will ever feel ordinary again. Do you feel it in your life? The moments when everything flows, when nothing seems to resist, when the house, the work, the heart, the relationships all move in harmony, when blessing seems to multiply beyond measure. That is the hour of favor. And the same life, lived in ignorance of these rhythms, meets frustration, loss, misfortune, poverty, even in the smallest gestures, even in the simplest acts. The difference is not action alone. The difference is alignment with the hour, with the unseen currents, with the timing that governs both seen and unseen realms. So I urge you tonight, do not act blindly. Do not dismiss the importance of the hour. Seek awareness, cultivate discernment, and recognize that the very moment you choose to act carries power, carries consequence, carries the potential for blessing or curse. For in understanding the right hour, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the mundane becomes miraculous, and the life that once seemed burdened by misfortune is transformed into a life overflowing with favor, abundance, and divine opportunity. There is a principle at work in life, subtle yet powerful, that those who walk carefully come to understand, while those who rush blindly stumble in confusion. Guarding your time is not simply about keeping a schedule or counting hours. It is about understanding that every moment carries a spirit, every hour carries a presence, and every choice you make within that hour leaves an imprint on your life. What you do at 1 hour may bless you, while the same action at another hour may bring poverty, misfortune, and struggle. And yet, so many walk through life with no thought, no care, assuming that time itself is neutral, that the moments pass without consequence, unaware that their destiny is shaped in these small, unseen alignments. I tell you, the smallest actions carry weight, but the timing gives them power. The water that falls from above is not dangerous in itself. A word spoken, a step taken, a gesture made is not harmful in its own right. But when these acts are aligned with the wrong hour, when the unseen currents of time are ignored, they become conduits for lack, for misfortune, for forces that you cannot see but will feel for the rest of your life. And yet, if you step with awareness, if you act in tune with the hour, even the simplest act becomes a seed of blessing, a spark that multiplies, a motion that calls favor into your life. It is not chance, it is alignment. It is not luck, it is awareness. Many live unaware of this truth. They move as though time is empty, as though the hours carry no more weight than the wind that brushes their skin. They work, they pray, they labor, yet they are trapped in cycles of struggle. Bills pile, opportunities vanish. Relationships falter, and frustration lingers like a shadow over every step. And they wonder why, because they cannot see what is invisible. The door to poverty and misfortune is often opened by an act that seems innocent, by a moment that seems ordinary, by a time that they thought carried no consequence. And once that door opens, the chains are subtle, relentless, binding your life in ways you cannot understand until the pattern has set its roots deep. But there is hope, and the hope lies in vigilance. For the same principle that warns you about misalignment also empowers you to claim blessing. When you guard your time, when you honor the weight of each hour, when you become sensitive to the unseen currents that flow with the moments of the day, you gain control over forces that many walk past unaware. The same water that once cursed can now cleanse. The same steps that once bound you can now open doors. And the smallest words spoken with discernment can carry power beyond imagination. Awareness is your shield. Alignment is your sword. And when these are in place, the atmosphere itself becomes your ally, bending toward favor, blessing, and abundance. Do not take this lightly. The enemy knows the power of the ordinary moment, and he works to obscure it, to lull you into carelessness, to make you believe that time is neutral, that your actions carry no weight. And so, many walk blind, showering at the wrong hour, speaking at the wrong hour, acting at the wrong hour, and they are ensnared by forces they cannot see, by misfortune they cannot explain. But those who learn to guard their hours, who walk with awareness and sensitivity, find life itself shifts. They begin to recognize the right moments, to step into the hours that bless, to avoid the hours that curse, and suddenly the patterns of struggle dissolve. And how often this is tested? A simple choice in a moment, a casual decision, a thoughtless act. These are the moments that will define the trajectory of your life if you are not careful. Yet those who guard their time, who step with discernment, who recognize the unseen weight of each hour, find that life itself becomes ordered, that obstacles dissolve, that favor flows as naturally as the river flows to the sea. And it is not by might, not by power, not by human effort, but by sensitivity, by awareness, by the careful guarding of moments that destiny is shaped. Tonight, I urge you to recognize the power of the hour. Do not act blindly. Do not dismiss the ordinary. Even the simplest motion carries the potential for blessing or curse, and only those who guard their time, only those who act with awareness, only those who align their moments with the unseen currents of the hours will find that poverty flees, that misfortune dissolves, that life is filled with favor and opportunity. Guard your hours, protect your moments, and you will guard your destiny. And so tonight, my friends, the message is clear. Your life is shaped not only by what you do, but by the moments in which you do it. The ordinary can carry extraordinary consequences. The smallest act can invite blessing or misfortune. And the unseen world watches, responds, and aligns with your every choice. Guard your hours, honor your moments, and step with awareness. For in this lies the key to prosperity, peace, and divine favor. May you walk carefully. May your actions be guided by wisdom. And may the hours you claim become the very vessels of blessing in your life. Good luck to each of you as you move forward with discernment. May favor rest upon your path, and may every step you take be filled with light, opportunity, and abundance. Thank you for opening your hearts and listening so closely tonight.